Welcome to the Grand Review, the show that's all about movies and movie news. It's real fun week here. We have, obviously, I'm here as always, the man who doesn't have a snowball's chance in heck to be a good kid this year. And I'm joined by not just my regular co-host, not just the man who is constantly reminding me that I am the worst child in the history of the world, but also his better half. It's Andy and Jessica Delia. Delia. Dang it, I did it wrong. Oh, well.
Delia.
Yeah, Delia. I know that, but I got nervous.
You screwed it up.
Yeah, but I'm not going to do it again. All right.
Okay.
I respond to all of it.
Fair enough.
She does.
Well, welcome to the show, everyone. Jessica, thank you for joining us.
No problem.
I know Andy kind of dragged you into this, but we're going to try and make it as unpainful as possible.
Okay.
Not
as much as like she's making out
if
to be.
There is something I do have
I thought it was a
opinions.
good idea. My wife and Garrett's wife too, Hannah, goes to every week that we go to the movies pretty much, unless there's something like horrible going on.
Like me being there. Yeah.
Well, sometimes I think I'd rather have Hannah than you.
Oh, yeah. No, me too. She's much nicer. Well, if you've never joined us on the show before, basically this is how it works. We're going to do a spoiler-free review right up front, and we're going to talk about this week's movie without ruining anything for you, so you can decide it for yourself if it's something that sounds like you're interested in it or not. And then we'll let you know when we get into spoilers, and we're going to talk about the film more in depth, more about the craft of filmmaking, the story in depth, and a little bit more
Garrett's picking us.
Fun stuff. I believe it's called artistry, Andy.
Oh, okay.
Look it up.
Okay. Hold on. I'll get my non-Wikipedia phone out.
Hey, you leave Wikipedia alone. It has served many people well over the years.
Including us.
So yeah, this week we are actually talking about, this is a special episode that's coming out kind of as a sister episode to our main ones that we usually do every week. But this one, we actually got to see an early screening of a movie called The Best Christmas Pageant Ever.
Yes.
And we saw it at Grand Avenue because they get all the cool stuff, go there. And so we went and saw it, and we sat down, had a fun time, got in the Christmas spirit a little bit, and now we're going to tell you what we thought about it. Now, normally, we start with Andy's opinion on things because it's probably the one that makes the most sense. But since
that's really sad.
I set the bar low, but it is a bar.
Yeah.
but Jessica, I'm actually interested to hear your thoughts first.
Sure.
So we're going to break with tradition because you've come in, you've changed everything up.
So my wife is definitely like the aficionado of Christmas films. Like she sees all the horrible Hallmark ones that come on. So she's the more valid opinion on this than even me. So go ahead, take it away.
Okay.
I think you just have more joy than we do.
Yeah,
I think
she
I
does.
do. Yeah.
She does.
Andy thinks I'm rare and unusual because of my love of Christmas movies, but no, I don't think so. I think I'm a typical 45-year-old woman.
Well, because you don't think Die Hard is a Christmas film, and I do.
It's set at Christmas. How can it not be?
Right, exactly. Terrorists, gunfire, everything that makes Christmas worth watching.
Yeah,
Let's get on to
the reason for the season.
Movie.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
Jessica,
Happy.
Yes,
you're
happy.
Good, warm feelings.
Yes, thank you. Hon.
spoiler free. What are your thoughts about
Spoiler-free.
the best Christmas pageant ever?
I really like this movie because it gives you those warm, fuzzy vibes that you want from a Christmas movie. It has the characters in the movie that you really want them to do better, and you want them to excel and succeed, and you want good things to happen, and you get a little bit of that. And so I like that because that's what you want from a Christmas movie. So I got that along with the snow. It was set in the north where there was snow, and I like that.
We only get that on Easter Sunday here in Texas. Weirdly.
Yes.
If that.
Yeah.
By then it's summertime.
I know. It's very odd. So you kind of got that Christmas joy.
I got that Christmas. Yeah, I got that Christmas vibe from it. And it kind of goes back to, childhood memories of when you would go to church on Christmas Eve and you would go and see the Christmas pageant or the Christmas play or whatever your church was doing. And so for a lot of families, that's kind of tradition. And it was tradition for my family. So I kind of liked that in a movie.
Kind of hits home.
Yeah, it does.
Andy, what are your thoughts?
Surprisingly, I like this movie.
Really?
I wanted to see it before. I thought the trailers for this actually looked really good. And it's definitely Christian based, but it's not very preachy. I guess it does get sometimes, but I didn't get that overwhelming sense in, like, say, most contemporary Christian films that almost beat you over the head with it.
It doesn't feel like God's not dead.
No, this one's very subtle, even though, a good majority of this takes place in church. But I like the characters. For the most part, the kids were fantastic. They were all just enjoyable, even though they were the littlest hood rats you'd ever see.
I've finally been beat out.
But I just thought it was very enjoyable. It's kind of sad. It did bring a tear to my eye close to the end of it too. It's just really good. Yeah.
So, Jessica, good, bad, great, or terrible. That's how we've started rating things because we don't want to give them like a number rating because it's kind of arbitrary. So, for you, was this good, bad, great, or terrible?
I'd go with a good on it.
A good? Okay.
Well, almost a great. Almost a great.
Almost a great. All right. Well, that's pretty high
What
praise.
would give it a great is if they actually infused a little more of, I would say, I almost want to say other religions in it, which sounds really weird for a Christian movie, but if they had some Judaism in there or something like that, just because I'm really big on cultures and world religions and stuff. And so if it had that kind of intertwined with it, I think I would have appreciated that.
Oh, okay.
It's funny. It's the same production company, too, that did Ordinary Angels this year and Whitebird. But Whitebird really did not seem like a Christian film at all.
Yeah, because
they were behind that.
Yeah, that one's about atrocities in World War II.
Yeah, and no, like we saw that together too.
It was really good.
Yeah, that was definitely like one of the better films we've seen this year. But it wasn't. It's another like religious film that didn't beat you over the head with it. And it really didn't go into like the atrocities as much as like Schindler's List does or something along those lines.
Yeah, Schindler's List does not pull any punches in that, in that regard.
This one's a lot more subtle, but you do get an overwhelming sense of urgency that keeping the girl hidden throughout the film is of life and death consequences.
Gotcha. Yeah. I'm sad I missed that one. I do want to see it. So once it's available, somewhere,
Cinemark copy doesn't got it this past weekend.
Darn.
A month after we had
I don't know if I want to see it that bad. No. You have to go sit through a Cinemark trailer package. But
no, it'll probably be on streaming soon. And for once, I don't say that in a bad way. I say that in a good way. When it hits streaming, you should watch it.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Oh, right. I should probably.
Now it's your opinion.
So this movie, it's an adaptation of a novel from or not a novel, but a kind of short picture book from the 70s. And I ended up liking it. I think from a. It's got a small budget. I actually can't find what the budget was, but it's going to have a smaller budget than than Red One, which is sitting at $250 million right now. Well, that's going to be a fun one to talk about. Oh my gosh, Joker! And I was very interested to see if it would be cringy. I think that was the main thing I was worried about.
Same here.
And I do think that there are some things where you could totally still go like, yeah, it's still a little cringy in some places and stuff. And there's one thought that really was getting to me by the time we got halfway through the movie, but I'll have to get into it in spoilers.
Okay.
We actually saw this with the kind of pre-release,
the DVD extras,
DVD extras package, yeah. And so we got to see Pete Holmes and Judy Greer and the director Dallas Jenkins talking about the movie, and I said this when I got in there. It was like definitely a first take. No one bothered to script it. They went, "Hey, we got 10 minutes to shoot this. Just get it done."
Yeah,
it was very awkward.
But I think the most genuine reaction we saw out of that little short before it was Judy Greer's. Yeah, she seemed to be the one that was like actually enthused about doing the film, and you could tell that she had the best time doing it, and you could even tell like when we were watching the movie that she carries this film, and it's hard to believe. Like Judy Greer's career started with a movie called Jawbreaker.
Yeah, and then she was in Halloween films, and she's done all of that. Now it's like I'm a Christian mother, and it's like. Well, that's a bit of whiplash, but all right, I'll buy it.
No, but she's convincing and believable.
Yeah, I think so.
Like my only drawback to this film is the guy that played the dad,
Pete Holmes.
Yeah, he's just there.
He really kind of seems like he's phoning it in, and I've not seen Pete Holmes in anything else. I've seen some of his stand up and stuff, and I'm not ragging on the guy. But
is he a stand up comedian? Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, he plays cheesy dad.
He does do the cheesy dad thing.
He does.
Yeah, I mean, overall, I by the end of it, I really liked the message of it, and I think that the Herdman kids are all a lot of fun, and you can see that they're really like getting into it, and it's a bit hokey, but it's hokey in that way that a children's book or a Christmas movie would be. So like, one of those things that normally would kind of annoy me, but I just kind of accepted it and was fine with it. I'd give it a good. I thought that I don't think it's a new Christmas classic in the same way that some other stuff is.
I think it has the potential to be, though.
It could be.
This could be one that definitely people will pull out year after year and watch it. I can see that down the line.
Yeah, and I do think it does. It does serve as a good reminder that Jesus came for everyone, even the Herdmans, and that's kind of the message of it. And really getting to see the story about Imogene, like she's not the main character, but it really is about her and her.
Well, she has the biggest role out of any of the kids.
Yeah, and Molly Bell plays Little Beth, and she's doing great throughout the whole movie. And so like I liked it. I definitely have some stuff where I'm like, is the cinematography a little uninspired sometimes? Yes, but it looks nice. And like it's not. They're not doing anything crazy in this movie, but it also didn't need to be, and it looks better than a Hallmark movie,
It does. I give it credit
are
for
you
that.
knocking my Hallmark movies over there?
I'm not knocking.
I am.
I'm making an objective assessment of
since
production.
Garrett probably knows people that have done Hallmark films.
Yeah. I also know people who were part of the Disney Plus launch that got fired after.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because Disney sucks, not because they did anything wrong.
Well, yeah, we know this. Okay.
Disney. But yeah, I give it a good. I think that it's definitely one of those that you can totally take your whole family to.
There's nothing offensive in this at all. And we took Drew.
Yeah.
Drew loved it.
Yeah. I think kids are going to enjoy it a lot because it is really focused on the kids.
Yeah, it is.
So, but yeah, overall, I mean, just,
And at least it doesn't make all the kid characters in this too, they're not annoying. They're not stupid.
Yeah.
Well, the Herman kids are kind of annoying, but
but
they're
in a way that's
supposed to be.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's where it's one of the few films like this where, the child actors and everything are not that over the top or annoying that you just roll your eyes like every scene that they're in.
Yeah. There are definitely some times where I feel like they're edging close to it, but it's like, it's not like I said, it's in that way that's like, Christmas fairy tale kind of thing would be. So it doesn't really ever fall over into
super sappy, saccharine kind of.
It's not If.
Hallmark movie, actually.
If looks could kill, ladies and gentlemen, the look that Jessica just gave Andy. Oh boy.
Nothing better on a cold day than a good Hallmark movie and a fire in the fireplace.
I thought you were going to say
and my
nothing
husband
better.
at work.
I stand corrected.
I thought she was going to say nothing better on a cold day than some laser eyes to shoot right through your heart.
or the AK-47s in Die Hard.
Whatever gets the job done. All right. Well, you guys want to get into spoilers?
Yeah, spoilers.
It's easy recommend.
Yes.
Right? Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Easy recommend.
Cool. Well, let's get into the spoilers. So, let's start with the thing that was nagging at me the whole time. So in the just for fun, but in the pre-movie kind of special features thing, the Dallas Jenkins asked Pete Holmes and Judy Greer what was the thing that in the script that made them want to sign on and do it, and Pete Holmes says, well, there was that moment where the dad comes in and he talks to Beth. And it's just this really sweet heart to heart. And that was really what got me interested. And then the scene comes up and he walks in and goes, how you doing? Well, you want to go with me somewhere in the morning? And she says, yeah. And he goes, okay. And walks out. That's basically the whole scene. And I was just how low are your standards, bud? That's not a heart to heart. That was a 30-second scene with almost nothing in it.
Which would have been like, what, a page and a half of like a script?
Not even. Not even.
I'm being generous in that.
Yeah, no, that was one page of dialogue.
Or the check was at the end of that page and a half, and okay, this is how much we're going to pay you.
That sounds about right. Oh my goodness! But yeah, I mean, I like the I like that the whole story is really about, Jesus came for everyone, including the Herdmans, and that being kind of shown through, the Herdmans setting fire, the Herdmans stealing stuff, breaking stuff, burning stuff, whatever it was that they were doing. Smoking, yeah. There's actually a really funny moment later on where they think that...
Yeah, the girl is smoking in the bathroom of the church, and turns out that she was, but the thing that was setting off the fire company coming to the church was somebody's cake was burning in the oven.
Yeah, because all the snobby women are coming in and trying to find a way to kick the Herdmans out. And not paying attention to their own stuff.
I think those snobby women were sitting behind us in the theater too, because they wouldn't shut up throughout the entire film.
If only we knew the manager and could do something about it. I don't know.
No comment.
If this is your first time joining us, Andy's the manager at Grand Avenue.
Yes.
That's the context for that joke. It's
when
funnier when
I'm
you
sitting
there.
I am a regular guest, just like everybody else. And I can't really get up and go, I'm throwing you out now because you're just too annoying to stay in here.
We need to get you like tearaway pants so you can wear your jeans, but then if someone's talking, you can just go rip and you're in your manager costume. You hello.
I'll tell you what was cool about the screening that we went to too. Everybody was in like their Christmas clothes.
Oh, were they?
And, a lot of people had like their leggings and their blankets, and
fun.
Like they were ready for that kind of film too. And it was really cool to kind of see that.
Yeah. It definitely, October 31st came, and then the clock ticked over. Mariah Carey's being thawed, and Christmas
and Michael
has
Myers
begun.
is going into deep freeze.
Yes. They take the ice from Mariah's cage and put it into Michael Myers.
Not in my house, though.
And so, but yeah, I want to talk a little bit about just the general, like the storyline and how it's executed. Because this is one of the things that normally does really annoy me is when a movie has a lot of voiceover. Because it's a writing crutch. Like there are times where that's not the case, and I don't want to say that as a blanket statement. But there are plenty of times where it becomes that. And weirdly, this one didn't feel like it at the beginning. I worried it would be. But as we got to kind of that third of the way through the movie point, it felt like no, the voiceover is part of it.
They're obviously copying a Christmas Story,
right?
That's the sense that they were going for, and that's the vibe they were going for. And the other thing that it was Lawrence Graham's voice, which I really don't mind at all either.
Yeah, I was surprised it was Lauren Graham.
I didn't like her voice though. I told Andy that after we left. I was like, I didn't care for the narration.
Really?
The voice of it. I don't mind the narration.
I still think that goes back to she was in
voice.
Bad Santa, and you hate that movie.
But I haven't watched Bad Santa.
Yes, you have.
Oh, okay. I stand corrected.
Yeah, the one like R-rated Christmas film that I pulled out the one year was bad, and Jessica was like, "Oh, thank God this is over."
I'm dead set against really bad Christmas movies like that. Violence, no.
It wasn't that violent.
Okay.
It was funny.
So you're not a fan of Krampus then?
No, I'm not a fan of any
I
of those
love that
sorts
movie.
of
Weirdly enough, I do too, because it's really bad. It's really dumb, but like it knows it.
She hasn't seen Violent Night yet either.
I haven't seen that either.
Oh, see, I like that one.
Yeah, that's on our Christmas list this year, just to see what it is. Because I like.
I'm trying to play it at Grand Avenue.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What's the guy's name?
David Harbour.
David Harbour. I like David Harbour. So
yeah, I do too.
That's got enough for me.
It's a big adult, a Home Alone.
See, that sounds fun.
Yeah,
I don't ever want to see Santa
getting drunk and puking over his
kids
sleigh, because that's like the first 5 minutes of Violent Night.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I hope at least the traps are fun.
Yeah, they were.
How did you guys feel about the whole storyline about the snobby women? Like,
Oh, I can speak to that.
Please do.
So I'm a 45-year-old woman who works in public schools, and so I have been around these women. I have been around these women in schools, in churches, in various functions, and so
I've been around them at the theater.
So
I told you I'll stop coming during the day. Jeez.
So there definitely is that sentiment towards the bad kids.
Yeah.
And being somebody that works in special education, there are kids, and I'm not going to say they're bad kids. They have their behaviors for lots of different reasons,
Sure.
and so I will say that about kids with bad behaviors. But there are definitely those sentiments from those type of women, and it always kind of makes my skin crawl too, because they don't know the whole story. And with the Herdman kids, we didn't know the whole story. We knew their mom was absent.
Yeah.
And so if you have an absent parent, you don't have a dad in your life.
Yeah, there was no dad either. That then they said briefly what they thought happened to the father, but it was like an urban legend, and there was no basis for it.
Yeah, and you've got a kid who's raising her younger siblings.
Yeah.
I mean, that's and she's doing the best she can, honestly.
So she has to be tough. Yeah. She has to be street smart, and that's what it was Imogene.
Imogene, yeah.
That's what her character is.
And these women are coming from their perfect little, homes with their 2.5 kids and their white picket fence. And, there's probably plenty of money in the checking account to get the food they need and to pay their bills. And they have no idea what this child in this family is going through.
Yeah.
So I have a heart for that.
I've worked with women like this, but it wasn't like them trying to get rid of kids. It was more that they were trying not to pay me. And so, yeah, but I did think that maybe it got a little into almost parody level sort of like dialogue. But I kept going, but it's a Christmas movie. Like,
I'd say it's pretty honest though in that portrayal. Like those women exist.
I mean, they're definitely that evil, but I just was like, but are they that upfront about it?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Oh okay.
Yes.
Oh yeah. Around other women, they definitely will be that upfront about it, and especially if they think that you're of their mentality.
Yeah.
Or that you're of their opinion and that you're just going to agree with them.
Mm-hmm.
Jessica doesn't always agree. Jessica speaks her opinion sometimes.
So that's why you had that shovel in the backyard earlier?
That is.
Yeah, okay.
It's a reminder to Andy.
I love my wife. Let's get that straight.
Normally when there's like we listen to a lot of true crime podcasts, my wife and I, and normally it's like when a woman goes missing or dies, the husband is the first suspect. Like that's the first person.
Well, Jessica doesn't like. She actually watches the shows. Like she doesn't listen to the podcast. Like Evil Lives Next Door or Evil Lives Here.
All of them.
Yeah,
yes, I watch them all.
So I'm like, if she gives me like that green Gatorade, I already know something's up.
I'm just saying this might be called into evidence because we just heard her say that she was warning you with the hole in the backyard.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. I liked a lot of the stuff that had to do with Alice and how Alice is the daughter of one of the women that's like the most uppity of all of the women.
Oh yeah,
and her kind of you get to see how that's passed on from one generation
right
to the
because
next.
She's constantly like whipping out that notebook and taking notes throughout the entire rehearsals and production of this thing.
All of the things that she sees as wrong or something that her mother or Mrs. Armstrong wouldn't have allowed, and Alice is doing all this. But I also liked the detail of her at the end when she realizes Imogene is crying, like her seeing the humanity of another person, maybe for the first time in her life.
Well, and that's probably the entire town. That's the first time they have seen those kids act that way at all. Ever, where they're not like torching something, robbing something, and they're all behaving themselves. They're all standing there very still, quiet, and Imogene starts crying. That's the first time that town has really experienced that. So I think that was life-changing for everybody. And they were definitely looked at in a different light after that.
Sure. Yeah.
And I love the fact that the three boys of that group, like they thought the gold, frankincense, and myrrh is stupid, and they like rationalize all these things about like the nativity story, and they bring the ham that they had from home instead to give as a gift because that makes more sense to them. And I'm like, that's actually pretty cool that they do stuff like that because they're a lot more street smart than people give them credit for.
Yeah.
But I love the kids that have it all. They would have showed up with the frankincense and myrrh and not thought anything about it.
Yeah.
But it took the kids who had experienced life without to bring the ham.
Right.
Yeah.
To bring Jesus a good gift.
I wish we had seen their mother sometime in the film.
Yeah, I kept wondering if they were going to do that because they often say like she's not home when the sun is up, and we have no idea where she is, what she's doing.
So that was like, well, does she work night shift? Or where is she?
Yeah, or is she just out? Like
right.
And so I think that was the thing that really got to me about this movie is one of the things that always just breaks my heart is seeing kids who are not cared for by their parents, and seeing that, you can still kind of just not know that that's what's happening. You can think they just have attitude issues or whatever. If you're in a school administrator, for instance, or
they're a product of their environment,
right? Yeah. And I think that it really struck me by the end that, regardless of all of the silliness that was going on in the movie, because they're goofing off, they're having fun with it. It really is that story about how when you love someone the way that Jesus loved people, how that can impact them in a way that you would never have guessed. I think that Judy Greer's character as Grace, she gives them every chance that the rest of the town wouldn't, and I think that's a very it's a good example of like what the church should be.
And at one point, all the Herman kids quit.
Yeah,
like they said they weren't coming back. They weren't going to be a part of it anymore. When they're blamed for setting the church on fire, and it's not even them, and they know it wasn't them.
I laughed so hard when Beth goes up to try to get Imogene to come back to the thing, and she goes, "Well, they thought you were smoking. Were you smoking?" She goes, "Yeah, but I didn't set a fire." It's like, it just cracked me up because it was like,
it's almost like, I'm dumb, but I'm not that dumb.
It's almost like I'm 9. I know how to smoke a cigarette. Yeah. Or a cigar.
They had full on stogies. They skipped way past cigarettes. Yeah. These kids, where are they getting those? They're fighting for hand, but they have cigars on hand. What's happening in that house?
No, the best too is when they were waiting out in front of the church for the one rehearsal, and they had the snowballs ready.
Yes, yeah, they all do like all as one big line. Yeah, and again, like that was one of those things that I in the moment I was like, that should annoy me, but it's fun.
It's not, because it's cute and it's fun.
Yeah. Like for the first time in probably too long, I was able to just enjoy something for being cute.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
aside from my wife, who is cute every day, and it's not just because she's sitting here silently blinking at me. She does her homework, but it's because I think that there's a joy around Christmas, and for me, it really is. Yeah, there's family, there's togetherness, and all that stuff. But it is that idea of the impact that Jesus coming to Earth had, and the way that it really does. The love of Christ is something that is. It permeates us in ways we never expect, and seeing that through the eyes of children, I think that was really the thing that I liked about this.
Yeah, that's definitely, like you said, with the seeing everything through the kids' eyes.
Yeah.
And children experiencing it for the first time because they had never been to church. The snacks pulled them in. There were snacks, and so they were there.
I've been suckered into things with snacks.
Yeah, and so they heard the story for the first time, and it really touched, especially Imogene, the oldest one. It really touched her because she really...
I just like the fact that as soon as they really started getting invested in that, they actually went to the library, got library cards. Mm-hmm. They started pulling books. They did the research. I give them credit for that.
I was ready to slap that librarian. I was about to stand up and be like, "No, you're mean." She's like, "The Hertmans in a library."
Yes, give them their library cards.
Yeah. The kid being like, "I have a book license." Yeah, all of that stuff is great. I do think that Pete Holmes is definitely phoning it in a little bit.
Yeah, he's one of the drawbacks to this.
That really was the one thing, because like I think mostly I was fine with it in the way I was fine with most of the other stuff until we got to the scene where he said they had that heart to heart, and he goes in and talks to her. I was just like, man, if
that's not much of a heart to heart.
That was nothing, and so I know you're full of crap, and like. Just don't lie about it and be like, well, it was the check. That's fine. Like, we're all going to go, yeah, probably. It's a job.
Yeah. And it paid.
Yeah. We have no idea how much. I can't find any information about the budget. But
yeah, no. If that movie was more than $150 million, I would have been surprised.
It's definitely not. This is like, I feel we're talking $20 million probably.
Considering Venom cost... But what, 130 that we?
150?
150? Yeah, so this didn't have anything that Venom did.
Estimated budget, according to IMDb, is $20 million for Best Christmas Pageant ever. Yeah.
And it'll probably make at least double, maybe
from
triple,
Grand Avenue alone.
Yeah. It was, I mean, there were quite a few people there in our early showing.
No, because I had 4 shows on Saturday. So there was a 4 o'clock, a 4:40, at 7 o'clock that we were in, and then another 7:40 or 7:30. And I know the 4 o'clock round had a total of about 150 between the 2 shows.
Okay, yeah.
And then the 7 o'clock round had about 130.
Wow.
So if that's any precursor of what we're looking at for Grizzlies for next weekend, we're going to do pretty well.
Yeah, that's great. I do think it's
deserving. It's not. I really. The argument I'm going to hear, I'm sure, is I could wait for streaming for this, and I'm like, no, this is something you should see with a bunch of people in a theater, and it's not even for the sound or the picture.
Right.
It's just that communal spirit that you're going to have, and to set yourself in the mood for Christmas. It's really going to help with that in the holiday season.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and I think there is actually something to be said for that in a theater.
I'm proud of you, Andrew. Delia.
I take it all back.
Community and the Christmas spirit. It's what I wanted for Christmas. Thank you.
No, it was very
something good.
It was very hard not to get in that spirit after watching that film.
Yeah.
So
I cried.
I did too.
I haven't cried. I cried during the Superman documentary.
Yeah.
And then
you did more than I did. I was kind of surprised.
In Superman?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I hate.
Is there a crying contest between you two now?
No. That's for Wicked.
Oh, okay.
And that's the crying of keeping awake.
He told you what we're planning to do. Didn't he?
I know. And I sit right between the two of you usually when we go to the movie. So I'm just gonna.
Maybe we should give her the buttons.
That movie's going to be interesting.
Our plan is to attach those TENS units that you can shock each other with, and every time I get annoyed, I get to shock Andy, and every time he gets annoyed, he gets to shock me.
They're gonna love it.
But we have to be honest about it. That's the whole thing. We can't just shock each other just to mess with each other.
Actually, you know who we should give the controls to if he's around?
Drew.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
You and I will both suffer heart attacks. He's gonna play it like a PlayStation, man. Just constant button presses. Yeah, I don't know. We didn't need that for this one. This one was genuinely
no.
uplifting.
It was interesting. It was paced well. It definitely just didn't seem like a Christian film.
Yeah. Is there anything that you guys would have cut out? Do you think?
No, there was stuff I actually would have added.
Like a heart to heart?
I would not have added the mother. I know you were getting ready to say add the mother.
I would have added the mother.
Because
yes.
I've worked in schools where there have been parents that I've never met, and I've been with these kids for years, and I've never met their parents.
Mm-hmm.
That's the reality of it. If you have a mom that's always working.
I guess I just wanted to see a visualization of that.
You get the kids. They're the byproduct.
I could just search meth head and show you the screen.
If I want that, I'll go back to Marble Falls.
Fair enough.
Yep.
I don't know if there's anything I would take away.
I definitely wouldn't have taken anything away from it. Added maybe, but not. I did not feel there was a scene that over exaggerated, that dragged, that went on way too long.
Yeah.
So Paul Feig needs to take notes from this film.
So who should have played the dad? Because you all both didn't like the dad. Who should have played him?
Question.
Somebody other than... Well, I can't even say Blake Shelton because his part in that pre-show too was awful.
Yeah, but at least Blake Shelton's got a fun accent.
Yeah, but you could see like his eyes moving as he was reading the cue cards too.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God.
Write your cue card smaller. You can't have it go across a full football field length.
It's bad when I notice that.
What about the director? Because he really seemed to have a lot of passion for this movie. I don't know if he's an actor in real life as well. He probably could have
Dallas
played
Jenkins,
that well.
I don't think so. He's noted for making the Chosen series, which we both said
We're getting ready to start
we're
watching.
going to start watching that. Yeah, just because there was a sermon a couple of Sundays ago in the church that we go to that somebody used an excerpt for that actually looked really good. And even the short clip they gave us from season 5 in the pre-show actually looks good, that I kind of want to sit down and watch that.
I have a very different opinion on The Chosen than most people.
Okay, I'm curious.
Here's the thing.
Yeah,
I know The Chosen is well produced. I know that it is. Something that a lot of people have enjoyed. But full disclosure, I haven't watched it. But my parents started watching it, and they turned it off after a couple of episodes. And the reason that they did is because, in order to fill in runtime essentially they would, or to just add extra drama to wherever, they're coming up with stuff that isn't actually biblically accurate and kind of working it in there.
Yeah, but nothing is.
Well, hear me out. With the story of Jesus, if you believe that Jesus is the Son of God, died, came back, Savior of the world, you don't screw with that. As far as I'm concerned, because here's the deal: someone who doesn't know any scripture, if that's their first kind of introduction to that, they will always have this false picture in their head of what happened, what was going on, and it starts as innocuous little things, starting with there was someone who was jealous that Mary gets pregnant because she had suffered a miscarriage, and they had this whole storyline about that and stuff. And that, is that a salvation issue? No, maybe not. But the thing about the devil is that what he does is he takes truth and twists it just enough to get you squirreled off in the wrong direction. And that has always been the playbook for evil, is to take something and make you not realize that it's off just enough to kind of get you down this path. And I'm not accusing the people of The Chosen of doing that intentionally or anything like that, but I am saying that I think that there should be great caution taken in knowing what did happen versus what they added for
dramatic
purposes or whatever, because that actually changes the context of Jesus's life. And that, I think, is a very slippery slope to start standing on. And so, I at best, I think it's a little irresponsible. At worst, it could end up being something that is a tripping hazard for people who have not been, exposed to truth before.
So should there be a disclaimer?
I would think so.
Saying the show doesn't follow the Bible exactly, but it's a close...
Sure, yeah.
There should have been that before Noah, before that came out, too.
Well, that should have been burned. Noah is. I mean, it's not just wrong; it's sacrilege. They're blessing people with the snake skin from the Garden of Eden, which I don't know if you guys know this, but generally viewed as the opposite of God was the snake.
Yeah.
And so that doesn't make any freaking sense.
I watched that movie by myself on a Saturday a few months ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, of all the movies to pick, I was like, you picked that one? Really?
Yeah, he was like, what? Why?
Well, because I remember the best story I have of that, too, is the theater I was running in Marble Falls and the church groups that wanted to do, like, massive buyouts for that. I warned them in advance that this is not what you think it is.
Yeah.
It's not biblically accurate at all. This is somebody else's interpretation from a comic book, because that's generally where that story came from.
Okay.
It's from a graphic novel. It is not the Bible in any way, shape, or form. And I said, I will book this only if you accept that fact, and there is no refunds when you guys get upset that it's not. And they they act like I have no idea what I'm talking about. And sure enough, halfway through the film, they storm out and we want our money back. Nope. I warned you guys. I told
you,
that this was not what you thought it was going to be, and you did not listen to me. That's not my fault.
It seems very simple to not be a ding-dong, but everyone keeps doing it.
I know. but not in this film.
Yeah. I think this one is a pretty... Yeah, it's weirdly, while it's kind of... I don't want to say hyperbolic, but it's kind of like a heightened reality almost sort of thing. It's got that Christmas movie feel of it that's not like... It's not quite real. It's a little more... something else. I don't know what the right word is.
Well, especially in my case, I got sucked into that without it being overly saccharine.
Yeah.
And...
Oh, it was teetering on the edge, but it never quite got there.
Right. So, yeah, I bought into it.
Yeah. I like it. It's fun. I'll
is.
probably, it'll probably be something that I throw on to, not have to watch The Grinch for the 40th time.
And it's probably something that we'll put on from year to year going forward.
It's definitely preferential over The Grinch.
Yeah. Well, I like the Jim Carrey one is the
and
Antichrist.
That's the one I like.
I hate that one.
I grew up with it. I can't hate it. And I know someone who was in it. So.
Even better.
I like the animated one.
I don't remember why I disliked it so much, but I remember not liking it.
Maybe I like that too because Drew and I went to go see that before the day that we got married. We went to go see that before.
And that'll be 6 years on Sunday.
Yeah.
Wow. Congratulations, by the way.
Andy
Thank
went
you.
and saw a movie on our wedding day. Can you believe it?
yes, I can.
Before we got married, not after.
and he wasn't late to the wedding.
Church bells are ringing, and he's like, "No, there's a secret scene. Just hold on."
Well, that's, I went and saw Venom again with Drew Saturday night after we had watched best Christmas pageant ever. And he was like, we get to watch the secret scene. I'm like, the first one, we're not staying for the second one.
I'll tell you what the second one was.
Because he was
and
like,
here it is in a single word. I'm an adult.
But I still had to explain like the first one to him.
Could you explain the first one to me? Because I still don't know what was going on.
Yeah, it was null.
Oh, right, yeah. But didn't they destroy the codex and therefore he couldn't be set free? And now,
Right, and
but now
now-
he's saying he's going to take over because the King in Black is back, or
Yes.
Hell's Bells, whatever it was that he was doing as an AC/DC reference.
I like that film even less the second time I saw it with Drew.
Yeah, we're gonna go see it because we're kind of at the point now where we might be able to watch the first two now that Hannah's not drowning in schoolwork. She's still got a lot, but she's not. She's instead of being like blah, 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 she's like, I got a couple breaths. So I want to take her to see it because it was just like dumb fun, and I think dumb fun after your final semester of school is
You better
a good
move
time.
fast.
Oh, is it not doing well?
No.
Really?
Like opening weekend, it didn't do well. It had some bounce back last weekend because there was nothing else to compete with it. But I know we're going to have it another week after that. It's probably going to be gone.
Really?
Yeah. Just because it's getting into the weeks with Gladiator and Wicked and Red One, and it's going to be snuffed out real fast.
I think Gladiator's going to do really well, and I'm kind of like
Advanced sales are not good.
Really?
Yeah, there's more advanced sales for Wicked than there are for Gladiator.
Well, that doesn't surprise me. People are nuts for Wicked.
But
have you seen Wicked, Jessica?
I have not seen Wicked. Andy went and saw the Broadway show of it, but I haven't seen it. So I'm excited to see it actually.
long before we had met.
Yes, long before. It's not like he went to Broadway and said, you're staying home.
Yeah. Look, I know it's our anniversary, but I have a Broadway show to go to.
At least I'm not one of these people that went and saw Spider-Man on Broadway.
Oh, I forgot about that. Oh man, I watched a video about like how that whole thing fell apart. Like it's such a crazy behind the scenes story.
The funny thing about that too is like when I worked at Flicks, the pre-show for No Way Home had excerpts from the Broadway play, and I was like, man, whoever put this pre-show together should have been shot. Because I'm like, you brought that into the mix out of all the Spider-Man stuff that's available through all the world. You picked that.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I'm like, idiot.
See, the funny thing about that is there's a music video by Snow Patrol that was on the DVD extras of either Spider-Man 2 or Spider-Man 3. I can't remember. But it was a bunch of kids doing like a stage production of the movie. And it's way better than anything that I saw as promotional material from the Broadway Spider-Man show. It's just a music video that probably had a budget of like $20,000.
Well, the first thing that they showed for that pre-show was the Nickelback Saliva guy singing that song from the one movie.
Hero?
Yeah.
I need a hero to save me.
God.
You know, I give Nickelback a hard time, but Hannah and I actually
but they deserve it.
Our first dance at our wedding was to a Nickelback song.
Really?
Yeah. So we love Far Away. It's a good song. I think. Like I know people will roll their eyes, especially people who have any idea what music is actually like. I never did. Anyway, Andy hates it, but we had her brother and dad did a musical. They did the instrumentals for it, and then Hannah sang over it, and so that was what we danced to. Oh. It was nice.
At least y'all had music. Andy made this wonderful playlist for us and forgot to play it at our reception. But we do listen to it now on our anniversary whenever we're traveling.
It's still on my phone. I didn't delete it.
Yeah.
Well, I was too busy talking to my sister too. Like you don't mention that I hadn't seen her in how many years. And that was a little more important talking to her than it was putting on the music for our wedding.
I don't know if I tried to put like fun songs that I'd heard at a bunch of weddings I'd shot in our wedding playlist, but almost no one danced. And it was like, maybe we should have got a DJ. But then I thought, No, most of our families are lame.
Honestly,
anyway.
with Apple Shuffle anymore and a Bluetooth speaker, you don't need a DJ.
Yeah. Well, I know several people who would come at you with fisticuffs up.
Yeah,
because they do that professionally.
I know. I'm
we
sorry.
had a small reception.
You need an MC. I think that's the more important thing.
Yeah.
Well,
and my uncle was the pastor that married us too.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, that's cool. Yeah. We I don't know if we still have our wedding playlist anywhere, but we do have a video we recorded while we were on our honeymoon. Don't make any jokes. Where we sat down and we talked to camera just about like all the stuff we could remember from our wedding day,
cool.
like 2 or 3 days after the day, and we just tried to remember everything we could, and we watched that on our first anniversary.
Oh, okay.
And just got to kind of like relive the day, and we went through the pictures.
That's cool.
That's cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
Speaking of things we'll do probably every year, we'll probably end up watching this movie just because it was uplifting. I like the best Christmas pageant ever.
Yeah,
I didn't think I was going to say that. I thought I was going to be the jerk who was sitting here ragging on it constantly. And like, it's not perfect. And there are definitely moments where I'm like, we couldn't get a better take than that. Oh, but I don't
Yeah, it was
care.
all the pre-show.
Yeah, definitely.
But it's a message you're going to want your kids to hear.
Sure.
Yes.
And for it to be reiterated in a movie and not just coming from you as parents. Like, that's important.
Yeah.
The kids don't listen to their parents.
No.
Why would they? They've
No.
got TV.
Yeah.
Yeah, Drew doesn't listen to us.
Yeah.
Isis doesn't listen to us either.
Well, you just need something that'll get through to them. I think if you put G-Force on, they'll learn some important lessons about not trusting Nicolas Cage. So, gotcha. All right. Well, any other notes about the movie? Anything you guys can think is a standout?
Fun?
Nope.
No?
Yeah, I don't think it's
Okay.
got like a bunch of stuff to talk about,
No.
but it's a good
No.
feeling time. It's uplifting.
is.
I after October, I needed something uplifting.
Yeah,
And definitely no
made you
barbecue.
watch Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Although the movie that we're talking about watching this week is kind of a horror film, though, too.
Yeah, but I think it probably actually has a story, so that'll do a lot
Yeah.
for me.
Yeah,
Texas
it
Chainsaw
does.
Massacre is just garbage.
Or even Smile 2, or...
there was something happening in there. I'm frustrated more now than I was when we first watched it because I'm just like, what was real? Why did I watch any of that if it wasn't happening? But it was her experience, I guess. So I guess that makes sense. But then why don't you clear it up for me a little bit? Is because you want to not explain how the monster works? Well, that's just mean. I want to know how the monster works.
It's funny that the other ones that we watched weren't really horror films. Like Speak No Evil was more of a thriller.
Yeah.
And Never Let Go was kind of like that too.
Yeah, it was more thriller, definitely. Like, it was a bit spooky, you know? I don't think it was as spooky as Watchers, though.
No, Watchers had a little bit more than Never Let Go did, but Never Let Go was the better story.
Yeah.
Speak No Evil was the better of all of those movies, in my opinion.
I like that one
I
the most.
loved that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did too. Like I said this before, that it was better than the original version.
And I still remember it. We've seen it more than a month ago, and I still remember it.
Now,
so
That's
means it's a good
amazing for
movie.
you. Yes, that's awesome.
Yeah, like one of the first things I learned about Jessica was that she's like, if Andy says I've seen it, I've seen it.
I have terrible short-term memory skills for movies, for movies and music.
It's almost like you're doing important things in your life.
It's almost like that, right?
But yeah, we definitely don't know what that's
Not like I'm a mom or a speech pathologist or any of those things.
Yeah, we watch movies.
Yeah, that's basically our life. All right. Well, Jessica, thank you for taking time out of your very busy
Thank you for inviting
pathology
me.
schedule to sit here and tell us why we should enjoy Christmas more.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
Thanks, son.
You've touched
I'll
us.
continue to remind you all about that.
I appreciate that. Just keep him smiling.
Okay.
It's because that's not my job, and I
have my
absolutely ruined his smile.
No.
So, alrighty. Well, thank you everyone for listening.
Yeah, thank
we
y'all.
really appreciate you. We hope that you enjoy the show. We hope that you'll check out the other episode that we're actually about to record called about the movie called Here.
Yep.
And then we'll get into news on that one for this week. So if
Yeah.
you're looking for news, it's in that other episode. But we wanted to do this one special with Jessica.
Yes.
And sit down and talk about Christmas.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, I guess that brings us to the end then. We'll see you all some other time. That's not the phrase. It's this one. We'll see you at the movies. Bye, everybody.
Bye, y'all.
Nailed it.